Get ready with me as I try not to be late for work. What do you think these books have in common? Aside from the fact that I enjoyed all of them, they're all told in dual timeline. Dual timeline is basically when the story that's being told is being told across two or multiple timelines, sometimes more than that in the case of this book, Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. This is definitely one of those books that I think is just gonna stay with me for like a very long time for multiple reasons. Like the first reason being that it is told not in one, not in two, but across 3 different timelines. And when I actually figured that out, my mind just went poof. I think part of the reason why I also really loved this story was just the complexity of the nature of the relationships. Oh my god, I forgot to brush my teeth. Oh my god, I'm floating to the worst unit tonight. I'm really worried about that. Dual timelines and why Broken Country is so fucking phenomenal. Basically, and there will be spoilers because I love spoilers. They don't deter me from reading a book. In most cases, they actually encourage me to read a book. And secondly, I just think that I don't like to censor myself that way. But the reason why I think Broken Country is so fucking phenomenal, and it's just like a masterclass on timelines in storytelling, is because it takes place across 3 different timelines. One in the past, one is a like mystery thriller of a current court case, and then the other timeline is basically the events leading up to like the court case scenario of like who done it, like who killed who is on trial. And something that this author does really well at the very beginning of the book is she sets up the story to ask 3 questions that she seeks to explain by the end of it. I think the first question is like the romance, right? Who of these 2 lovers that this woman is clearly in love with is she going to end up with? The second question that keeps you on the edge of your seat and like your toes is, how did her son die? And the third question is, who the fuck is on trial? And who killed who, basically. And something that I've gotten into the mood of doing is like to try not to figure out what the genre is or like read the genre before getting into a book. Initially from the outset, like I knew it wasn't necessarily going to be a romance, but there was a deeply ingrained love story. I knew it was part historical fiction, but the genre that this was labeled as that kind of threw me for a loop was the fact that it was also labeled as a thriller. I also knew that like going into it, it definitely reads very women's fiction-y to me. And so there's no surprise there that it basically is also a type of women's fiction, which that genre in particular is fairly nebulous to me, but that's a complete tangent. We don't have time for that right now. The reason this is of particular interest to me is because when I was starting to write my current work in progress, I was shooting for trying to write a frame story. However, in the process, I ended up writing dual timeline, and the nuances of those are different, which like just for a quick all intents and purposes, like dual timeline is told across 2 full storylines. It's basically the completion of one story and the other that are like interwoven together. And a frame story is like a story that's being told in the background. I think like this is like a very commonly used structure for like classic tales where someone is like, let me tell you a story, and then essentially like goes on for chapters and chapters and chapters at a time, because that's like the actual story that's being told. What time is it? Fuck, I'm late. And I think why Broken Country is so beautifully crafted, and though like by the end, you know, there's a twist that I actually won't spoil that twist, that you should have seen coming, and it hits you all at once and it just makes you bawl. And the way that that was subtly woven throughout the entire story is also super fucking mind-boggling to me. But where was it? What was I talking about? Something, dual timeline, something, frame story. And so typically in a dual timeline, you want to see the full completion of two stories that are interwoven together.
6:25.
I'm late!
He's late.
I'm floating today.
I'm sorry. You have stuff all over your nose.
I know. Also,
Yeah.
the Trader Joe's Halloween totes are dropping tomorrow, so I'm gonna come home late. I don't think Broken Country is a good book for anyone who has triggers for cheating. I also don't think that if you're expecting like a very traditional romance, this is not the book for you. However, if you are someone who endeavors to find and enjoys books regarding complicated relationships between people, this is definitely the book for you. I know it was the book for me. It's easily one of the best books I've read in recent history, and basically it got recommended to me by my therapist after the amount of bitching that I did to her about my own work in progress. So definitely go and check it out. And on the next episode, we will explore dual timelines. Let me know which of these dual timeline books that you want to hear about next. Something I think I forgot to add about Broken Country is that I really wanted to add was that it's a lot like Wuthering Heights. So if you are a Wuthering Heights girly like me, Gabriel Wolfe reads exactly like Heathcliff.